Thank you. The second task is to help vulnerable groups easily utilize digital technologies and services in order to close the digital divide and allow people to use the internet from anywhere they want. We are going to expand public Wi-Fi installation in public spaces like community centers, village halls, and buses, and also expand the broadband internet throughout the country, including the rural areas. For the elderly and disabled people, we use digital technologies without barriers. We are going to improve their access to web, mobile apps, and kiosks, as well as enhance institutions related to technology development. As for government services, we will upgrade the systems by actively utilizing intelligent information technologies, so anyone can conveniently use government or administrative services. For the vulnerable groups to have better access to the service, we are exploring measures to reach them better. For example, like assisting them with online government services or having public officials reach them to better convenience. On top of them, we will continue to work further on improving digital accessibility for the vulnerable groups. Some of the measures on the way are offering free rental smart devices to students from low-income families, subsidizing internet fees, providing financial support to SME, that is the small and middle enterprises, in building infrastructures for remote work and more. Next, please. Now, the third task is to promote the wide use of inclusive digital technologies and support vulnerable groups, social engagement, and employment. To break down the barriers for the vulnerable people, we are going to develop and spread AI-driven services for reducing their inconvenience and providing intelligent public welfare services. Some of the examples would be offering intelligent kiosks and indoor navigation system. We will also build and open up data sets so private businesses can freely use them when developing inclusive digital services. Such data sets will include voice data, sign language data, and motion data. We are going to join hands with the social enterprises and build a foundation for creating more inclusive jobs. For example, we are going to work with social enterprises to promote employment training for the vulnerable people who may be disabled, old, or from multiple cultural families based on the condition they are hired after training. The next page, please. Okay. Last but not least, the first task is to build a public-private partnership. We plan to organize and operate the tentative called Digital Inclusion Alliance to support the private sector's social contribution activities using digital technologies. We also plan to create a sustainable digital inclusive ecosystem that works based on the public-private cooperation. We'll also work on improving laws and regulations for the digital inclusive society by developing the tentatively named Digital Inclusion Act. Thank you very much for your attention. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Professor Kim. Apologies again for the technical problems. We apologize for that, but really, thank you so much. This was such a rich and comprehensive presentation that I think, 9 minutes is not enough to capture the depth of the initiatives that Korea has been undertaking in the field of digital inclusion and how to ensure that all citizens can engage in the digital economy and society, and the various initiatives also in terms of building capacities in the areas of software, artificial intelligence, in elementary, secondary, tertiary education. These were some points that are really very, I think, interesting, including the digital training on digital ethics, and how to provide also free rental smart devices for students from low-income families, as well as this alliance, the Digital Inclusion Alliance. And again, we hear how important public-private partnerships are. The previous speakers have also highlighted that, but in particular, how important it is to work with social enterprises to then train vulnerable groups. So you have presented a very holistic and comprehensive approach. And thank you very much again, Professor Kim, for that rich and inspiring presentation. Thank you. So we will now move on to our next speaker, and I have the pleasure to introduce Mr. Chufeng Zhu. He is the professor and associate dean, School of Public Policy and Management from the Tsinghua University in China. Based on the 2020 UN government survey, for the first time, China is among the top leaders in digital government worldwide, with a very high e-government development index. Its national digital strategy and central leadership, coupled with good collaboration between national and local governments, investment in ICT infrastructure, and good partnerships with ICT businesses are some of the factors that have contributed to the country's remarkable progress. Mr. Zhu, I would now like to ask the following question. How can digital skills in the public sector be nurtured? And what are, in your opinion, the new mindsets and competencies needed in government to promote digital government and digital transformation? Mr. Zhu, you have the floor.
Thank you, Adriana. Please share my PowerPoint. Thank you. Thank you for inviting me, and this is my great pleasure to be here. Today, I would like to share some of my opinion. Please, next page. So first of all, I would like to talk something about the initiatives of our China's digital transformation and digital governance in Chinese cities. There have been several concepts or initiatives that the Chinese government has been using. The first one is digital city. Digital city means actually this is a state-led digital city governed by intellectual digital technology. The target of this digital city is to shape the sophisticated city-level digital capacity. And this digital capacity is based on the completion of broadband and multimedia information networks, and GIS, and the integration of the city's information resources and build up information systems and others. So the second initiative is smart city. As we know, actually, digital city is promoted by the giant company whose name is the China Electricity Technology, CET. So the second concept is smart city. Smart cities are the part of the decades-long pattern of Chinese government programs that seek to digitize and informatize cities. And the central government top-down approach to smart city pilot programs and shift away from city-led initiative. Actually, from the beginning, another giant company, IBM, promoted this concept, and with across Chinese cities, and the Chinese government adopted this concept. The third concept or initiative is city brain. As we can see, city brain means commitment to build new infrastructure for future cities by using data. Also, opening up a pipeline of city data. And we can see, actually, this is the make city thinking like brain. And so, as we can see, this city brain was promoted by other companies such as Alibaba and 260 company. So as we can see, digital transformation was never been without digital companies and their promotion and their initiative and engagement with Chinese governments. And the digital governance is actually the perfect case of like G2B alliance for the like a PPP, like cooperation between businesses and the Chinese government. And another one, another issue I would like to share is what did the Chinese government do during the period of COVID-19? They used digital technology to enhance the city's immune system. They used different kind of digital technologies. The first one is epidemic reporting. The Chinese government or city government use the internet app to reduce the workload of basic level epidemic reporting and reduce time consumption. The second technology is information release. The internet helps the real-time and spread scope of government authoritative information released. Therefore, rumor disappeared. The third technology is accurate anti-epidemic technology, such as online diagnostics that can quickly respond to public consultation needs and reduce the risk of cross-infection and save medical resources. And also, the next digital technology was used in delivery service system. Actually, residentials in cities, they use online and offline delivery system, alleviate the blind spot of urban life services. Therefore, during the quarantine period, no shortage of service supplies within cities. Every communities have enough supplies of their livelihood and their food and water and others. And then online learning and education and working. Actually, within the period of quarantine, children and students need to stay at home and online, stay and keep online learning. So internet remote office technology provided a new solution for collaborative needs of home office and class in the country, the whole country. And also, actually, there are a lot of giant technology companies joining fight against the deadly coronavirus, as we can see. Therefore, this was the alliance, as I just mentioned, the alliance between business and the government. So actually, the digital transformation is promoted or cooperated with the digital companies, with the government. So this is my opinion. So next slide, please. So finally is the government in the process of digital transformation. So there, as we can see, we have I have 5 points. The first is the government should clarify the government's role in digital transformation. The second is early monitoring and risk prevention during the COVID-19 period, and also to ensure that all elements are considered before making decisions, not just technical elements. Therefore, the government must have their mindsets of the digital society and the digital governance. And the fourth is the clarify the expected value of digital transformation. And the final one is strengthen international cooperation. So during the area of digital transformation, government should change their mindset to embrace the digital transformation. Okay, that's all my presentation. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Professor Zhu, for that also comprehensive and rich presentation. Thank you also for sharing with the audience the use of digital technologies to enhance the city's immune system. And also you highlighted, as the previous speakers, the critical importance of alliance partnerships between government and businesses, and how businesses have stepped up to the challenge of joining in the fight against the pandemic. Thank you also for highlighting what those critical pillars of building digital skills and nurturing mindset that embraces digital government transformation. And I just picked up some of the key elements that I thought were extremely interesting. Number one is really clarify the role of government in digital transformation, enhance the mindset of digital society, and clarify, I think this is a very important point, which is clarify the understanding of the value of digital government transformation and digital transformation for buy-in among the population and for better services. And thank you also for providing that comprehensive presentation on what cities and smart cities in China, across China, have been doing to address effectively the COVID-19 pandemic. So thank you again for that rich presentation, Professor Zhu.
Thank you. Thank you.
We will now move to our last panelist, and I have now the great pleasure to introduce Mr. Kyung-Yul Lee. He is the Secretary General of the World Smart Sustainable Cities Organization, WeGo. The World Smart Sustainable Cities Organization was established by 50 founding members in 2010. It is an international association of city and other local governments, smart tech solution providers, and national and regional institutions that are committed to the transformation of cities into smart, sustainable cities. So, Mr. Lee, having said that, I would like to ask the following question. As you know, knowledge sharing and South-South cooperation are very important to advance effective digital government. Can you please share with us some innovative approaches to promoting capacity development of cities? Mr. Lee, you have the floor.
Thank you very much. Thank you for your excellent introduction, and thank you for inviting. Can you hear me and see me clearly?
Yes, very well, Mr. Lee.
Okay,
please.
I hope everyone is safe and healthy. Under the current corona situation, to live or not to live may be the question, but to live and to get happy is the right answer. We have to fight and win to get happy. Well, regarding the questions posed in the theme of this webinar and raised by the moderator, my short instinctive answer is that not only a South-South cooperation, but also South-North, North-North, and East-West, and every possible way of collaboration is necessary. The most important thing is to get to know what and how to do things to make ourselves happy. Then what knowledge do we have to get? 4 things. Number 1, needless to say, technology matters. Smart technologies are enormously changing the world. According to a recent study, the current smart city applications alone can deliver significant results. Up to hundreds of lives can be saved each year, and you can live about 10% longer and healthier, etc. This is very impressive. But even the most advanced smart cities today still have a long way to go. Number 2, electronic government matters. Examples of Seoul, capital city of South Korea, may be illuminating. Based on near perfect electronic government system, Seoul is operating top quality smart city platforms, including corona prevention and management. And Seoul's civic participation system is a wonder too. It receives 16,000 proposals and complaints every day to continuously upgrade the smart city. Number 3, as other previous speakers already mentioned, PPP matters, public-private partnership. Government provides business environment, and private sector puts in expertise and investment. Private sector builds digital platforms, and it makes money when the platforms are successful. If the civic participation is active, PPP becomes PPPP, public-private people participation. All is the case, as I mentioned. The citizens are not simple participants, but active data collectors and problem solvers. And 4th, lastly, mindset change is crucial. City officials should change their mind. They are not the owner of the city. City administrators should be open-minded and kept abreast of the times. As it was technology that changed the Stone Age, it is technology that ushers in the smart age. So cities should awaken to it and invest in it for the future. And citizens should change their mind too. They shouldn't be passive bystanders. They are real owners of the city, and they are asked to actively create the ideal smart cities. The sense of ownership is critical, and civic participation makes a big difference. Cities make citizens happier, and citizens make cities smarter. Now, allow me to briefly introduce my organization. WeGo, as the moderator already introduced briefly, WeGo is a smart city platform where we share knowledges and experience and best practices. We provide online, offline training programs for officials from developing cities. We also provide feasibility studies for selected cities. Under the current corona situation, we launched 2 new special programs. One is called the Smart Health Responder, where you can find numerous best practices and webinars about COVID-19. Another initiative is what we call the Smart City Driver. It gives our member cities a sense of direction and thereby helps them to design and customize their smart cities. WeGo is also partnering with regional networks as well. For example, we are working together with ASCN, ASEAN Smart City Network, which is one of the prime cases of South cooperation for smart city improvement, where 26 South Asian member cities learn from each other and try to attract foreign investment to build and improve their smart cities. Now WeGo is trying to copy ASEAN in the Northeast Asian region, which is called Northeast Asia Smart City Network. It will encompass like-minded cities and local governments in the region, including Korea, Japan, China, Mongolia, Russia, and North Korea. I hope we can work together. Finally, I hope I answered your questions, and I wish you 10,000 happiness. Please stay safe and healthy. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you so much, Professor Lee, and I also wish you 10 times happiness.
10,000.
Thank you for 10,000. 10,000. But thank you for that inspiring presentation. And yes, number one, we should focus not only on South-South cooperation, but really cooperation. Every possible type of collaboration and solidarity is critical to overcome the pandemic and the crisis. Thank you also for highlighting, those enabling factors for cities to become fully empowered and smart cities. So that technology matters, and smart cities applications are saving hundreds of lives and extending the lifespan by 10% of people. That's extremely impressive. Also, number two, that the government matters, and three, the critical role of people's participation, and then the critical issue of mindset change, and you rightly focused on mindset change at the government level, how government officials need to be open-minded and embrace that the critical role also of keeping abreast with the technological advancements and changes and what they can do for people, but also your focus on citizens who are the real owners of cities, and they also need to change their mindsets. And finally, thank you for sharing the wonderful initiatives of WeGo in connecting cities to learn from one another and to really promote sustainable development for all. So thank you again for those inspiring words and presentation. We now conclude the panelists' presentations, and we will move. We have a few minutes for the interactive discussion. And as you know, we have received many questions from participants through the pre-registration process. Unfortunately, we are not able to address all of those questions today, but I would like to ask a couple of questions. So the first one would be for Ms. Diana Alarcón. How can the political leadership be mobilized to support the digital transformation? And this question comes from the Office of the President of the Presidency of Botswana. So Diana, could you give your insights on this question?
Thank you, Adriana. This is a difficult question, really. Digital transformation does require strong political leadership and a strong commitment over a period of time. Mobilizing that strong political leadership is most important. Perhaps by providing evidence of advantages of this digital transformation, international experiences about the benefits of going this way. I mean, those are things that could spark the interest and the commitment from the political leadership. There is a need, I mean, in order to expand digital services, there is a need for transparency, a commitment to transparency, to set a zero tolerance for corruption, to open up information and so on. So strong political leadership is most important. And yeah, it's a tricky question. I mean, the world is going that way. And there is going to be a push from society, from the private sector and so on to do the transformation. Accelerating it, I guess, with strong evidence and international experiences will play an important role.
Thank you, Diana, for your insightful remarks. And we hope that this webinar can also be an opportunity to share those international experiences from all of you who have been spearheading initiatives in digital government transformation. Thank you, Diana. So my next question is now to Ms. Zeberg. I would like to ask you, how can developing countries address the COVID-19 pandemic through the use of digital transformation, despite the challenges in internet connectivity? And this question comes from the district council in the Republic of Tanzania. Ms. Zeberg, could you share with us your insights on this question?
Yes, thank you, Adriana. I think it's a very good question. It's very important to address the digital divide. In Denmark, we have 94% of the population who has internet access at home. So it's a very good question, because we always said that, you know, it's a foundation for the digital public sector in Denmark. But I think that in Denmark, we have done some things that all countries can do as well. We have an overall principle which say that the citizens who are able to use the digital solutions should use that. It's mandatory in Denmark. So what about the ones who cannot use them? Then in Denmark, there are two ways we address that, because it's very important to take care of these citizens as well. First of all, we have citizen service centers at the municipalities, where civil servants can provide help and access via the computers and at the municipality, at the service centers, where they can actually provide the help for the citizens who are not access but are able to use the digital solutions. And then secondly, we also have a paper trail for those who cannot use the online services at all. So we have a paper trail besides the digital solutions. And I think all countries can use that with one citizens service centers, and always make sure that there's a paper trail for those who are not able to use the digital solutions. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Zeberg, for sharing also your insights on this and on the importance of the citizen service centers. We also heard that from Korea to enable older persons or people living in rural areas to get help, trained, and also access internet points, and also on the paper trail besides the digital solution. So thank you for your remarks on this important topic. I would like to thank all the speakers for their insightful comments. This concludes a very rich discussion on building capacities for digital government transformation. So it is now my pleasure to give the floor to Mr. Kaping Yao, who will moderate session 3. Mr. Yao is a senior governance and public administration expert in the Division for Public Institutions and Digital Government of UN DESA. Kaping, you have the floor.
Thank you, Adriana. Yeah. So I know you must be a little bit tired at 2 hours meeting. So now let's move to the very exciting session 3 on promoting global digital cooperation for solidarity. We all know that the digital technology and innovation has been standing at the core of the effective and innovative responses to COVID-19. Now we also are trying to pursue kind of sustainable and resilient recovery from COVID-19. So the digital technologies and digital government all play a critical role in this process. Yeah. But many developing countries, they also have severe kind of concerns about that they due to the digital divide within the country and also the backward infrastructure. They have severe worries that they may be further left behind. So without the external support, these countries could have also a big problem in the sustainable recovery from the COVID-19. Also, actually, the United Nations has also been paying great attention to the global digital cooperation. In June 2020 this year, the UN Secretary General launched a roadmap for digital cooperation and also proposed 8 areas of actions. Yeah. So for this kind of digital cooperation, so we requires the efforts, not just by the international agencies, but also from ICT businesses and also civil society organizations and also the academia. So it's kind of a joint efforts to move forward the global digital cooperation. So today we have very lucky to have a panel of distinguished speakers from the national governments, from the big tech giants, and also from the United Nations, SCAP, and also from the European Union. So now let me first invite Mr. Chan Chu Ho, who is the Government Chief Digital Technology Officer of the Smart Nation and the Digital Government Office. And also he is also the Deputy Chief Executive from GovTech. Actually, Singapore launched the Smart Nation Initiative in 2014, of which the digital government is an integral part. And also in 2018, the digital government blueprint was developed for better leveraging the data and harness technology to build a digital economy and digital society. So they have a lot to share with other countries. And also Singapore is also a forerunner in digital governance for the past decade. Yeah. So now I'd like to invite Mr. Chen to the floor. And the question is, what could be an effective approach to creating a global digital government community to exchange ideas and drive meaningful actions? And also, due to ever-increasing transboundary digital transactions, what could be the regulatory challenges to ensure interoperability of government products and practices between countries, including open sourcing during the COVID-19 crisis? Mr. Chang, you have the floor.
Thank you. Can I have my slides, please? Yeah. Right. Yeah. Good day. Good evening to everybody. Thank you for the time here. Next slide, please. I think the concept of creating a global community is becoming more and more important. And let me just go to the next slide. We can talk about that. Yeah. Next slide, please. So we started this community quite far back, about 5 years ago. We call it the Digital Government Exchange, whereby we got a bunch of like-minded people, my peers, my counterparts across about 15 countries to come together. Vincenzo was a wonderful participant of this exchange, and the exchange is important because it allows. It's not just like a conference where everybody speaks, right? But it's more important whereby people get together and work together to come up with exchange of ideas, but also more important, work together to come up with solutions that could benefit multiple countries. We work together very well. We now even have a chat group of my peers from New Zealand, Australia, UK, Denmark, Estonia, etc., Korea, Japan, etc., whereby we can exchange ideas very easily. Because when people get together and they discuss real issues, something happens. And we are also now working quite closely with the ASEAN counterparts. In fact, just last week or the week before, we did a session with the Ho Chi Minh government. We are also doing one with the Indonesian government, whereby we are sharing a lot of work that we do with them so that we can accelerate the way they kind of move forward in the whole digital initiative. Next slide, please. Next slide, yeah. One other thing that we are doing that is quite a big thing, which is there's an event happening. We started this in 2018. It was essentially probably the first government developers conference in the world, whereby we brought together government developers, the tech community, and really some of the luminaries in the industry to share ideas. We're going to have one more in December 1st to 3rd, 2020, whereby we are going to have people like Martin Fowler, who is probably like the father of agile Jin Kim, who wrote the book, The Phoenix Project, and Unicorn Project on DevOps, etc. And you literally got a bunch of very interesting people coming together for 3 days to share what their work, help each other out in terms of solving problems, and more importantly, getting together and building a very, very big community. So we expect probably 3,000 to 4,000 people in this Stack 2020. All of you are invited if you're keen to join us for 3 days of wonderful tech sharing. Next slide, please. The other thing that's quite important is really about the interoperability of government products. We're lucky in the sense that we've been working quite closely with Australia, New Zealand, the UK, etc., even Sweden, to look at how we can share certain products, for example, like digital identity. In fact, because of DJX, we had a work group on digital identity where Australia led the work group. And we're now looking at the way of how do we cross recognize, for example, digital identity across the government. And all these things, what we done was that we put many of these things into a developers portal. And you can see the website there, developers.gov.sg, whereby anyone, all of you can go in there, discover products done by the Singapore government, evaluate the products, use the product if you want, and very importantly is to engage and celebrate with each other when we do this. Now, we open source stuff. There are templates in there, there are frameworks in there, there are developer stories. All those things are in the portal. And this is one way of, again, engaging the entire digital community across the globe. And like everything else, the good thing about government is that we're here to share. We're not here to keep everything to ourselves, because whatever we do probably can benefit another country. So in fact, we are launching the developers portal. This thing has been around for about a year, but we are doing a proper launch of it in the Stack 2020 conference in the last slide. So you'll find that you're welcome to come in here, take a look at what we do, even like, for example, our cloud migration, what are the lessons we learned, a playbook. Most of these stuff, our contents will be in there. Next slide, please. And, open sourcing is a big thing for us because, during the COVID pandemic, we realized how important open sourcing is. We developed a contact tracing app called Trace Together as early as February this year. And we did it literally in 2 or 3 weeks. Now, that technology is open source. Australia worked with us, New Zealand came to us, UK we engaged quite a fair bit too. And we find that it was a very useful thing because instead of everybody reinventing the wheel, open sourcing allows us to connect very quickly. We also have a token that we just designed to distribute to older people as well as the less privileged people who don't have a phone. Now, the design, the white paper and the token is also open source. Again, we work with New Zealand quite a fair bit to understand what they're doing too, and we share quite often. In fact, I think we probably have another call next week with UK and New Zealand to look at how we can help them with a physical token for contact tracing. The other thing that we did, we open source, was we license out the software for Spot On, which is a deep learning algorithm that we put on cameras, both infrared and normal cameras, to be able to do temperature taking en masse. And again, that became very, very effective. We could now produce a camera for about $500 US, when people are spending tens of thousands doing a temperature taking camera. It can take groups of like 10 to 15 people. And again, that software has been licensed. The reason why we licensed is because we wanted to dictate the condition of use, but it's free. And about 3 manufacturers are now manufacturing it and distributing to the community. So I think I'd just like to conclude very quickly by saying that, sharing is a very big thing for the government. I really wish more government would share all these things, openly so that all of us can benefit from. And we are more than happy to, again, as I said, avail all these things in a platform whereby all of you can really benefit from. And like everything else, this seminar itself is very important. It allows us to connect to all you guys, and hopefully we can meet in person soon. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chen. Thank you so much. Yeah. So actually, as you said, DGX is a very important platform for sharing experience, innovative practices. I also read your last report. It's very kind of helpful. So I think maybe more countries will be expressed the interest to join the network. Yeah. And also the Stacker, the event is also very important, a good collaboration platform for the governments, industry, and the tech community. And also, you also mentioned very important issue about interoperability. This has been mentioned for many, many years, but how to, from conceptual to the application, it's also kind of a long way for many countries to go, yeah. And also the open source technologies, I think that would be very, very important for developing countries. As you said, the other countries, they don't need to have invent new wheels, but they can also take advantage of what already being available. It also very kind of a cost effective, efficiency gains, and also for. Okay, thank you, Mr. Chan. Yeah, thank you. So now I would like to invite Mr. Anil Chowdhury from the A2I program of Bangladesh. Actually, the A2I program is the flagship program of the Digital Bangladesh Agenda. It aims to catalyze the citizen-friendly public service innovations. Yeah, and also from the application of this kind of platform, it also have saved a lot of money and also help streamline the efficiency of the government as well. And also, till date, the digital public services have saved Bangladesh citizens over $8 billion. Yeah, so I think the developing countries should also change the mindset. Yeah, so at one hand, of course, to invest in infrastructure would take some money, and also meanwhile, the digital government services, which should be kind of citizen-centric, should also save lots of money from government as well. Yeah. And also, one of the aim of the A2I program is also to promote the South-South cooperation. Yeah. So now I'd like to invite Mr. Anil to talk about to address the question as the following: how the good experience and lessons of A2I program could be shared with other developing countries. Yeah. Mr. Anil, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Yao. Can you hear me properly?
Correctly. Yeah, clear.
Thank you so much. Now, my previous speaker, Mr. Chan, many of the things that he talked about actually also resonate well with the way we've been doing things in Bangladesh. The A2I has been a program that's been running at the Prime Minister's Office, Cabinet Office, and ICT Ministry for the last 13 years. So it's a collaboration within the government and also with a lot of private sector organizations. Next slide, please. So let me talk about some of the things that have happened in the last 7 months during the pandemic. And I'll start from there. But what happened in the last 7 months really built on top of what we had done in the last 13 years. So it's not something that happened overnight. I mean, a lot of the investment, change of mindsets, change of innovation culture within the civil service, and also development of a lot of interoperable technologies contributed to what we were able to do fairly quickly. Let me talk a couple of specific instances. E-File is our government decision support system that now runs at about 8,500 offices. And that allowed us to work from home in the first few months of the lockdown. So the lockdown happened between end of March and end of May. So about 9 weeks of lockdown, full lockdown, and then restricted lockdown continued over June and July. But this e-filing system allowed all bureaucrats and ministers and all civil servants to work from home. So we had a target of reaching about 19,000 offices. That's the entire government offices in Bangladesh, number of offices, by 2021, end of 2021. But what we now understand is that there is a great appetite within government to scale this up by the end of this year. So I think we have accelerated this appetite for digitization and decision support system within all offices of the government. The next one is development of a court system, judiciary system. we've been working with judiciary, the Supreme Court, for the last 5 years without a lot of progress, because there's a lot of resistance from the Supreme Court justices and judges in the districts, and also a lot of lawyers, to move to digitization because of many different reasons, which I will not go into. But a decision, landmark decision between the Honorable Prime Minister and the Chief Justice in June allowed us to launch a new system based on what we had done for civil service in about 12 days. And the impetus, the rationale for this was that bail petition was piling up, and we were not able to release a lot of people from the prisons, and prisons were already overcrowded, and this made it, in the COVID time period, very, very unsafe. So in the last 3 months, since we launched it in June, a new law has been passed in the Parliament. 30,000 virtual hearings have been done, and 20,000 bail petitions have happened. And this is gaining ground to the point that now we have this thing called the Mission Digital Court 2021, and that's allowing us what we were not able to do in the last 5 years. Now we will be able to do in the next 1 year. So we're actually digitizing the courts at a very, very accelerated pace right now. The third bullet talks about the WhatsApp bureaucracy. A lot of decisions, very major decisions, actually happened over WhatsApp. So you have WhatsApp groups with ministers, with secretaries, and so on and so forth. A lot of decisions just happen bypassing regular meetings, regular paperwork, and then just happen over WhatsApp. And also over Zoom. But we saw that the traditional modality of holding meetings, sending out paper letters and all of that, that actually have faded away. So very critical meetings happen over a maybe 12-hour notice, 16-hour notice with multiple ministers. Nobody needed to figure out protocol, who will be the senior most minister, who will be at the head of the table. So none of that protocol really mattered, because in Zoom, you don't really have round table. So everybody is at the same level. So this has really given a radical changing mindset that leapfrogging is possible, and we can actually eliminate a lot of steps in our bureaucracy. And this is giving rise to what we had already instituted as policy, service process simplification. But now it's gaining much deeper ground, that a lot of things that were thought to be impossible before are now thought to be very possible and essential. The second large bullet talks about rapid digitization from the demand side. And this is, my previous speaker talked about interoperability. So because of interoperability that we had been able to set, interoperability standards in the last 5 or 6 years, we're now able to put together new solutions very, very quickly, because they're all interoperable, they plug and play, and they actually come together. The recent example is something that the Prime Minister launched in January, before COVID, called MyGov. And this is an interoperable system where you can actually very rapidly digitize hundreds of services. So in the last 2 months, using this system, we were able to digitize about 400 new services across 4 different ministries. And because of the way this system is built on top of many other building blocks, non-technical civil servants can actually do plug and play and build new digital services. So this was a breakthrough on top of already what we had built. We set 5 principles for digital transformation. We said that the citizens will give data once, so their personal information once, and they will get service always, regardless of which ministry, which department. We have not gotten to that point yet, but this is the aspiration that we have, that citizen does not have to provide data multiple times to multiple ministries, even to the same ministry multiple times, but they'll always get the service that they deserve and need. Many of the services they will get without asking, because the system will already know that it's time for the service to be provided. For instance, when a child is born, that is the mandate of the health ministry, but the birth registration certificate is the mandate of the local government ministry. And they don't talk to each other. But with this interoperable system, the health department will actually send a notice to the local government ministry, and we have already done the pilot in 1 location of the country, which is now being scaled up. So many services will happen in the lives of citizens without them actually asking for it. High quality, low cost. So we're trying to improve the quality of services by lowering the cost of those services. Anytime, anywhere, this does not require an explanation. Number 5 does require an explanation. This is the case of repurposing. So all the different building blocks that we have, we've been able to repurpose during COVID because we did not really have any other option. We needed to launch new applications, new solutions within days and weeks. And we were able to repurpose many of our existing components. Next slide, please. I'll talk about a couple of those examples. One is our social safety net delivery. So in the last 3 years, we've been able to reach from 0 beneficiaries to about 1.5 million. It took about 3 years to developing the architecture. During COVID, this had a 500% jump. So this was possible because our central bank came up with a regulation by working with us called eKYC. So this is the electronic know your customer regulation that was launched during COVID. And we were able to do bulk account opening. So we were able to open millions of accounts using the eKYC that is tied to our national ID. That was not possible before. So this new accelerated enrollment was possible because of this very timely regulation that was possible. And now we are trying to complete all the social safety net digitization effort, not by the end of 2021, which was our original target, but by the end of this year, because of this acceleration that has happened. Ready-made garment workers, again, for the last 3 or 4 years, using the same architecture, same digital financial service architecture, we went from about 0 to 1.5. But during this COVID period, within about 3 to 4 weeks, that number jumped to 4 million, about 260% jump, covering all 4 million of the garment workers. So they get paid by digital means. Before they used to, about 60% of them actually had cash payments, and that caused a lot of different problems. If I may just get 1 more minute, one thing that I wanted to talk about is the 333, which is our old technology. So we developed a surveillance system through self-reporting of symptoms. About 17 million calls came in with artificial intelligence analysis, and that allowed us to predict disease progression 7 to 10 days ahead of any of the PCR tests, because we did not have PCR labs set up early on. So we now have about 100 labs, but in the March-April timeframe, we only had just 1 or 2 labs. And this syndromic surveillance technology allowed to do disease progression very quickly. So this is also an example of repurposing. The technology of 333 already existed, but never really used for health. And this grew to become our largest voluntary doctors telemedicine service. So we actually have been able to help hundreds of thousands of COVID patients and non-COVID patients over telephone, which was not possible. The same line was used for food and relief distribution for COVID patients and also for cyclone affected victims. At the same time, we had a cyclone hitting us during COVID. So this same number was used for multiple purposes. The same number again was used for e-commerce. So a lot of people did not have access to internet. So they were able to call into 333 and ask for food support and also food order. Next slide, please. Just 30 seconds and I'll just finish. So this is the last slide where I talk about 2 very important South-South network that we have built. One is called South-South Network for Public Service Innovation. That has about 39 countries. It was launched about 3 years ago in Turkey by the South-South office, even South-South Cooperation Office and A2I together. And we are supporting a number of replication of digital initiatives on governance, on skills development, on SDG tracking across many different countries. Some of the countries are listed here. And the last one that was launched during COVID is a Future of Work Lab, because the future of work is really changing. The 4th Industrial Revolution and recently the COVID impact has really changed the landscape of jobs completely. And this lab is actually set up to support developing countries, primarily in Asia, to look at, forecast how the future of work is changing for each country and how we can address the shared challenges together. Thank you very much, Mr. Yao, for giving me extra time.
Thank you, Anil. Thank you for your best efforts to keep the time. I know there's lots of message, lots of information. So actually, there are some key terms I captured from your presentation. One is about that you have done a lot more within 7 months than you have done in the last 13 years. Secondly, it's about the change of a mindset of government officials. The third key term that I captured is that leapfrog is possible. Yeah, and also I also thank you for introducing some essential services. Yeah, so that during this period of time that the government is trying to improve this service to citizens. Yeah, and also I'm very impressed by this kind of South-South network. And also, I think after this webinar, maybe more countries will turn to you for collaboration for the future. Yeah. So thank you, Anya. Thank you so much. Yeah. So now let me have the pleasure to invite Dr. Julia Gleason, who is the Corporate Vice President of the Microsoft Worldwide Public Sector. The ICT businesses play a very important role in advancing global digital cooperation. Julia, so in your opinion, how can big tech giants like Microsoft effectively contribute to the global digital cooperation? Julia, you have the floor. Julia, can you hear me? Oh, great. Thank you. Sorry, we cannot hear you. Can you unmute? Unmute, please. You're still muted.
Hi there.
Great. Yes, yeah, thank you.
Apologies. I just want to say thank you. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to colleagues and friends. It's such a genuine pleasure for me to be here with you all today to participate in this timely and important discussion on global digital cooperation. We're at a critical inflection point today for technology, governance, and collaboration. Digital innovations, as we've heard throughout this morning, are exploding into the mainstream. Real-time analytics, AI forecasts set to go to 4 trillion by 2022. Despite all the great strides and the great innovation work we've heard about throughout the COVID crisis, we can see from 2 shocking statistics that there's still so much more work to be done. Whilst 93% of the world's population lives within reach of mobile broadband, only 53% can actually use it. More worrying still, even when you have connectivity, it doesn't always guarantee coverage. Over 1 billion individuals worldwide lack the ID to access basic services, which underscores the importance of the work my colleague at GovTech is doing and sharing in this important area. And I was really happy to see the emphasis throughout this panel on collaboration and sharing and open source. It's just going to be so critical in this era of digital collaboration. Equally worrying, someone like me, a woman in GovTech, in 2 out of every 3 countries, more men than women use the internet. COVID has clearly amplified these challenges in access and inclusion. As we've heard today, the crisis has shown technology at its best. As governments have shifted to remote working virtually overnight. More transformation in Bangladesh in the last 7 months than in 30 years. And our CEO, Satya Nadella, said he saw more digital transformation in 2 months than in 2 years, as digital services became lifelines, empowering first responders. And as we heard from Mr. Chowdhury, keeping the courts functioning, keeping innocent people out of jail, maintaining law and order. This was an initiative I was proud to have worked on during the first lockdown, worldwide lockdown in Italy. And it's an initiative that I was very pleased to see the Bangladesh-Filipino cooperation, because the Philippines was one of the countries that very quickly leapfrogged and built upon the work that was being done in this area. And then last but not least, enabling students to keep learning. Throughout COVID, digital services became lifelines. At the same time, the crisis also highlighted the need for greater connectivity, because for all of the achievements during COVID, we still saw 3.5 billion people without access to digital services and more than 1 billion children unable to continue their education. These statistics are unacceptable, and I believe it's no exaggeration to say that the UN's ambition of leaving no one behind has never been more important, that the UN's 8 digital cooperation actions provide a strong pathway to achieving this aim. In the time I have today, I'd like to address the 3 action areas where I believe a trusted technology partner like Microsoft can help the public sector most. If we could go to the next slide, please. The first, of course, is Action 1, achieving global connectivity. As my esteemed panelists and colleagues have all stressed, collaboration is essential in the new post-COVID world we're all living in. In this world, we all need to join forces to ensure that every person has safe and affordable access to the internet, including the meaningful use of digitally enabled services. Governments can play their role by setting the agenda for digital transformation, as earlier panelists have shared, and by offering the regulatory and financial incentives that are needed to encourage investment in the creation of modern network infrastructures. At the same time, beyond driving innovation and creating new software and devices, tech companies can further contribute by advancing the SDGs by contributing to global initiatives, such as Microsoft's Windows PC Affordability Initiative in Africa, which helps to close the digital divide by guaranteeing security and protection for devices and data. This guarantee is critical to the success of small businesses, which, as we know, is the lifeblood of so many societies. I also can see this need for cooperation and the value of cooperation in X for Impact, which was launched at the 2020 UN General Assembly to support innovation and collaboration in a post-COVID world between not-for-profits and the social sector. And of course, we see it in the UN COVID-19 Private Sector Global Facility, which aims to leverage the combined power, data, digital tools, and digital skills for a faster recovery. Yet access alone is not enough. Big tech must also do its part by supporting education and skilling. We're proud at Microsoft to be partnering with the UN to provide a future-ready skills program for young people in refugee camps. Equally, we're proud to increase this impact even further by committing this past spring to help 25 million people around the world acquire the digital skills they need to survive and thrive in a post-COVID-19 economy. The second action is safeguarding artificial intelligence. AI can augment human expertise by drawing deep, actionable insights from vast quantities of data at a previously unprecedented rate. When we think about the fact that more data has been created in the last 2 years than in the history of humankind, we can only imagine just how powerful this technology is. And for this reason, we can understand why organizations around the world have come to embrace AI as a transformative technology. Yet, as our President Brad Smith has argued in his prescient book, Tools and Weapons, AI can also be a double-edged sword. Whilst it can do a great deal of good, it can also be used in ways that lead to discrimination, bias, and yes, as anyone who's old enough to remember the film Minority Report knows, science fiction type levels of mass surveillance scenarios that just a few short years ago were unimaginable, were literally the stuff of Hollywood films. Brad believes that when a company like Microsoft's technology changes the world, all of us at Microsoft have a direct responsibility to ethically address these changes and to ensure that AI is not used for coercive or harmful tactics. With this in mind, tech firms have joined forces in a series of multi-stakeholder alliances, such as the Global Internet Forum to Counter Terrorism, which is a powerful partnership with the UN to prevent terrorists and violent extremists from exploiting digital platforms. The Partnership for AI, which is a collaborative research group that aims to engage experts on AI themes that will benefit the whole of society. Or of course, the Paris Call for trust and security in cyberspace, an area which, as I discussed earlier, is more important than ever in today's post-COVID digitally connected and digitally dependent world. But important as these efforts are, they aren't enough. To ensure that AI is used for good, academia, industry, and the public sector need to go even further by partnering together on the development of governing standards and policy. Tech companies need to heed Brad's call to take responsibility for the tools they are creating and selling. I'm very proud to share with you that I sit on a number of panels and a number of committees within Microsoft that are designed to do just this. The third action that I'd like to highlight builds upon these themes, of course, ensuring trust in cybersecurity. We just need to turn the news on any given day, and we can see that the threat is real and growing. In the first half of 2020 alone, we saw an increase of 35% in cyber attacks. With these numbers, I don't believe it's an exaggeration to say that perhaps the biggest and most successful test of digital government was the role it played in keeping critical infrastructure protected, safe, and running throughout COVID. Still, as we all know, and as I've shared, the threat is omnipresent and there is no room for complacency. Building trust and security in cyberspace requires a sustained global engagement and collaboration. It requires the creation of an ecosystem of like-minded partners willing to collectively support a rules-based international order in cyberspace that holds malign partners accountable. Tech giants can help, not just by creating software, devices, and services that promote digital safety and transparency, but by establishing and sharing positive examples and experiences. Investing heavily, as Microsoft does, in deep, value-based cultures and ethical digital practices. Capturing and sharing lessons learned from cyber attacks across millions of software and devices around the world, and cooperating to forge a foundation for defining and adopting global cyber policies. I could have the next slide, please. I'd like to conclude with a call to action. In the face of unprecedented global challenges, but yes, also opportunities, I believe the need to catalyze collaborative partnerships and innovation at a global level has never been greater. The UN's Digital Cooperation Roadmap provides a clear and compelling pathway for doing so. Working together, academia, tech giants, SMEs in the third sectors, and public sectors can help to achieve a more open and collaborative model of digital. A model which addresses the challenges of access and inclusion, which COVID so dramatically showcased. A model which ultimately helps to ensure that digital is a force for social good rather than disruption and division. On behalf of Microsoft, I truly look forward to partnering with you all today to achieve this important goal. Thank you.
Thank you, Julia. Thank you so much to give a very insightful framework or model for the for the open and collaborative model. Yeah, for the collaboration with other stakeholders. Yeah, and also now we have a better understanding of like a big giant techs like Microsoft, how you can better contribute to the like a global connectivity by improving the digital skills of the young people, our refugees. So as you said, you expected that 25 billion people will benefit from this program. That's very impressive. Yeah. Also, you also mentioned about this kind of AI, this kind of a global digital cooperation for AI, which also one key area of UN sector roadmap for digital cooperation. That's also very important. And also, you also mentioned about how the big giants like Microsoft can contribute to the trust and security. Now it's become a very kind of high concern for many developing countries, especially during the COVID-19 era. Because many countries expressed their concerns about data protection, about the infringement of the privacy. Yeah. Thank you so much. Thank you, Julia. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. So. Now, let me have the pleasure to invite Mr. Emil Baldacci, the Director of Digital Services, Director General for Informatics, European Commission. The EU has been making great efforts to promote the digital integration within the EU area, and also they provide lots of technical support for other countries as well. So, may I ask the question to Mr. Baldacci? The question is, what are the vision and the major initiatives of the EU in promoting global digital partnership? Mr. Baldacci, you have the floor.
Thank you, Keping, and thanks so much for allowing me to present the point of view of the European Commission to this very important discussion. We strongly believe that as COVID is a global pandemic, the response should also be global, and that global partnerships and cooperations are very important. We demonstrated already that we can join arms and join forces between the public and private sector in the campaigns that we are jointly supporting to find a vaccine against COVID. I believe that a similar approach also works in the domain of digital cooperation. So if we move please to the next slide. I have summarized in the slides the three areas where I believe, we believe in the European Commission that there is room for collaboration with a view of supporting the economic recovery and build resilience, as the title of this conference reminds us, two very important priorities. And adding to this, the need to provide a sustainable development recovery that would not bring us to the old normal, but that would allow us to go to a new normal, which is more sustainable and more inclusive and more based on values. So what are these three areas where we believe we should all commonly invest? First of all, Chan already mentioned in its opening of this session, interoperability. That's very important. It's not a technicality as it might seem. We have a program, and I'm very proud of being the manager of this program that supports interoperability standards and solutions that we use in Europe, but that can be reused across the globe. Interoperability is very important because if applications and solutions do not talk to each other, they will not be able to answer the needs and demands of users, being them citizens or businesses. And let me just give you a very practical example of how this works in practice. When in Europe, countries started to develop the contact tracing and early warning apps to help fight COVID, we recognized that people were moving across the countries and that you would need to have solutions that would allow the national apps to interact with each other, so that if someone was moving from one country to another, you would be able to trace back the contacts that the person had when he was visiting as a tourist, for example, another destination. So we created what we call the Federated Gateway Service, which, by the way, is an open source solution that will basically orchestrate the data sharing across the backends, the national backends of the national contact tracing apps. A very simple example of how interoperability is an essential way of making things work across borders. And as we know, we don't want to close our borders. We want our borders to be open and business to continue as much as possible in safety. The second dimension that it's important for global cooperation is the ability to access a series of solutions that are as much as possible open and as much as possible plug and play, that do not require to be adapted to a specific technology. And that's what we have been building over time with what we call the Common Solution Platform. It's a series of building blocks that are really fundamental elements in any digital government platform. And during the crisis, it was, as in other examples given today, very clear that having these building blocks available accelerate the delivery of digital solutions in an agile mode. So building blocks like digital identity, trust services for electronic signature, for example, or building blocks and services that allow secure exchange of information and data, but also automatic translation, archiving of documents, data solutions. These are all elements that are part of any type of specific applications. The more we develop open solutions that are possibly reusable across the board, the easier it will be for developers in public administrations and governments and in collaboration with the private sector to develop faster solutions that are fit for purpose, that are user-centric. And that's an area where I believe that we have already a lot of critical mass, as some of the interventions in this panel show, and we are willing and able to contribute to this common investment. The third area is the collaboration with the private sector. The previous speaker was making it very very clear. What we have done in Europe is to try to stimulate as much as possible the matching of the demand and the supply. During the COVID crisis, we organized a very big event called EU versus COVID. It was a big hackathon with more than 2,000 solutions and 21,000 participants. We were able to cross and co-create digital solutions in different domains, and then the winners, the best solutions were allowed to use another platform that was a matchmaking platform where they would be funding potential investors and financing opportunities to develop the idea even further into a solution. If we can go to the next slides, I want to now just briefly talk about what will happen in the future in terms of the areas where the European Union will invest in terms of technology pillars. And this will become the building blocks of the future, the elements of the modernized digital government platform that we want to make available as much as possible and interoperable with other systems at global level. First of all, the first priority is to ensure that our computational capabilities is such that we can digest the power of machine learning, artificial intelligence solutions, and more advanced technologies like blockchain to develop new services. For that, we need strong computational capabilities, what we call the high-performance computers, and we want to have a network that combines these engines so that the computational capability can be, through parallel computing, even faster and stronger. So we are looking for a federated and distributed computational capability network that will be, let's say, the engine, the power engine to accelerate the use of new technologies. The second priority is based on the use of artificial intelligence, and more importantly, making sure that we put to good use and to good value the millions and zillions of data that we collect both at individual level, but also through machines and Internet of Things. And here again, the need is to move from the research, from the laboratory to the factory, and have these high AI-powered solutions available for digital services, for example, for governments that would need to answer to different challenges. But without people, machines will not be able to work, nor the computational capacity, neither the computational capacity nor the AI solutions can work without people with advanced skills and competences that can make the best use of it, both in governments and in the private sector. And that's why in the next 7 years, we will be investing heavily in advancing these competences in the broader population, going beyond digital literacy, which is important. And to conclude, let me move to the next slide, where I just have 3 examples and a link if you're interested to know a bit more. These are just examples of how doing things together can bring win-win solutions. The first is a big data test infrastructure used by different hospitals in Europe during the COVID crisis to collect real-time data from different parts of the region and having real-time results about the effectiveness of treatment of COVID-related diseases with different medical methods. The second example is a digital innovation challenge that involved the private sector and startups in Europe, giving them the opportunity to reuse the building blocks for solutions that would be catering to needs by citizens and businesses. Again, an example of how public and private sector can usefully collaborate and help each other. And finally, what I have here at the end of the slides to conclude, the JoinUp platform, which I really invite you to visit because it's a container, a storage of reusable and open solutions, applications, and standards, things that you can take and bring in your own context and try to apply. And we don't just have a category, a catalog of solutions, we also have stories with people behind that will explain how they have used these solutions to build the digital services. So thanks a lot again for having me on this panel, and very happy to collaborate further in these global cooperation efforts.
Thank you so much, Mr. Abadachia. Thank you so much for introducing the EU initiatives for fighting against the COVID-19. And also, we are also very impressed by your future direction, for the technology pillars. And also, you also share very kind of useful information about enablers, with some like a platform for the information sharing with other countries. So actually, from our 4 previous speakers, that we have some common key terms. One is like open innovation, open solutions, and open collaboration. I think these key terms has been repeatedly highlighted by our speakers. And also Singapore GovTech, the chief CEO, the deputy CEO of GovTech, and also by Mr. Anil from A2I, and also Julia, and also the EU. They all provide many useful web links, which contains lots of very kind of useful information for us. So afterwards, we will post all this kind of presentation on website. So you should have a full access of this kind of website, so that you can get more information from these speakers. Yeah. So now let me move to our last speaker in session 3, Ms. Tiziana Bonaparte, who is the director of the IDD division of UN ESCAP. UN ESCAP has been making great efforts to overcome digital divide in the region. And also, in the last several years, they're also pushing advance the initiative on the Asia Pacific Information Superhighway. So they are also promote the digital connectivity in the region. So that's my question for Ms. Tiziana is, what are the major efforts by ESCAP to facilitate the digital government cooperation in the region and beyond? Tiziana, you have the floor. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Kiping. And let me start off by thanking Bokyung Shim and Vincenzo Acquaro, our good friends from UNPOG and DESA respectively, for the invitation to ESCAP to be represented here at this very interesting webinar. Next, please. So, as Vincenzo said earlier on in the evening, for me in Asia, Asia Pacific is the second most advanced region in the world. It had a 10% improvement in the EGDI ranking, and so digital connectivity is of crucial importance for Asia Pacific, but it's digital inclusion and its resilient digital networks that have become the foundation for the design of government measures and effective delivery of government services. And, you know, as so many other speakers have said, never could we have imagined a pandemic of this extensiveness and of this duration, and how this pandemic really brought to real life the need for digital inclusion and resilient digital networks. And the other reason it's so crucial is that it stems the worst impacts of the pandemic on those that are now being disproportionately affected, and that is the poor. It is now clear, the evidence is emerging on a daily basis, that those that came out of absolute poverty over the past decade, over the past 2 decades, are now slipping back into absolute poverty. And the slip back into absolute poverty is fast, the climb out is slow. And so the digital divide is growing. And it's growing partly because there's a group of countries in Asia Pacific that have managed to take off, and they are at the frontier of innovation. But then there's a group of around 18 countries where very little progress has been made over the past 2 decades on bringing digital inclusion, bringing in particular broadband to all. And so this digital divide is giving rise to new developmental divides. So COVID-19 has accelerated the formation of new development divides. And in particular, it's the rural-urban divide. The rural populations have been much more severely affected. And then it's the knowledge divide. I think Julia from Microsoft gave you the figures on the number of children that continue to remain out of school because they have no online learning access. And they have now moved into the labor markets, and they are now in labor markets with a high depravity. So these are all the new faces of inequality that are emerging. And so there is a very, very urgent need for an acceleration in digital transformation. And here there is a need for a big investment push by governments. The fiscal stimulus packages that are being rolled out, a big part of them needs to be investments in infrastructure, in digital infrastructure. And on that graph there, it's just one example of the digital divide. You see how in the low and lower middle income countries, 100% of those who have access to fixed broadband, it's unaffordable. Even in the high middle income countries, there is a certain percentage of the population for whom access to broadband is unaffordable. Next, please. And so in terms of our work, our response, as Kiping, our moderator, said, we have for a number of years now been implementing the Asia Pacific Information Superhighway Initiative. And the primary objective of this initiative is to increase the availability and affordability of broadband internet across the region by strengthening the underlying internet infrastructure in the region. And so this is the key pillar of the initiative, but the initiative, besides, the supply side, it also looks at the demand side. And in this regard, there is a pillar on e-resilience, which has become very relevant during COVID. There is a pillar on improved internet traffic management, and then there's a pillar on broadband for all. And under the pillar on internet traffic management, at the moment, we are working on the establishment of a shared carrier-neutral IXP, Internet Exchange Point, sub-regional Internet Exchange Point in the Pacific. And the map there at the top of the screen, you will see Australia and then the Pacific Islands. And so we have done a technical study which has recommended that a sub-regional internet exchange point be set up at the southern part of the Pacific Ocean, linking up New Zealand, Fiji, and Samoa. And by setting up an internet exchange point in the Pacific, there will be tangible improvements in the latency. So the download, upload speeds will be much faster, and the cost of accessing internet will also go down because it enables more content to be shared locally. So there are very clear quality improvements for relatively little cost, at least much less cost than the deployment of submarine fiber optic cables. So technically it's feasible, cost-wise it's doable, and now we are working at the intergovernmental level to promote understandings that will be necessary to link up the three countries and then to link up the other Pacific Island countries to this trilateral IXP It's an IXP that will be open to all interested Pacific Island countries. And then in the CLMV, the ASEAN, Cambodia, Laos, Myanmar, Vietnam, the same. We are looking into the feasibility of establishing a shared internet exchange points, given that the small size of the markets of these countries, there is a benefit in sharing an internet exchange point. And then finally, and I will stop after that, we have advocated for the co-deployment of fiber optic infrastructure with roads, railways, and energy grids. And we have been working very specifically and in a very sort of operational way with 3 pilot countries, Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan, and Mongolia. And here it's all about also bringing fiber optic infrastructure to rural areas where the business case is not there, but by co-deploying with other public sector works, the costs can be minimized in terms of the fiber optic deployment, because the big costs in deploying fiber optic cable is in the excavation. So you dig once, you use many times for digital connectivity, for road connectivity, for railway connectivity, and costs can be substantially reduced. So those were just a few examples of the work we have been doing, and how, in particular on the infrastructure side, we are promoting that collaboration among countries, the cooperation and solidarity, as the president of NIA said, and as many other speakers said. And we are working in very close partnership with the Internet Society. We've been working closely with NIA and with the government of Korea, government of China, among others, who have all been very supportive of this work. So a lot of goodwill there to bring the benefits of broadband to all. Thank you.
Thank you, Julia. Thank you so much for highlighting the importance of global connectivity, and also you also point out the worries that that growing digital divide between countries. So actually, with the new and emerging technologies, many developing countries have worries that they can they can see the further digital disparity between countries. Yeah. So improving the global connectivity is a really long march. It's a dynamic process, and also requires the government to work together, increase the investment on the digital infrastructure, and also collaboration with other stakeholders. And also thank you so much for introducing the current initiatives on the bilateral and on a multilateral level to improve to provide support to the member states. Thank you so much. Thank you. So now I have like 2 questions to ask our panelists. Yeah. So I will first ask the question to Julia and also Mr. Baldacci from EU. This question is from our colleague from UN Resident Coordinator Office of Kenya, from Mr. Khalif. His question is, how can countries in Africa be supported to harness the big data to guide planning and implementation of development priorities? Julia, can you provide some reply for this question, Julia?
I think it's an absolutely excellent question, and thank you for raising it. What comes to mind is the powerful discussion we had from Singapore about open source tools and technologies. The knowledge exchange across governments. I mean, that's such a powerful advantage that the public sector has, the willingness to share with me. I genuinely think, because the private sector, of course, doesn't do that, right? They keep everything proprietary and it's all about money, whereas the public sector is all about the social good and the fabric of society. So I do believe that through harnessing the power of open source and the power of collaboration with colleagues around the world, countries like Kenya, countries in Africa will be able to keep pace and will be able to access the ability to analyze vast amounts of data for social good. There's there's a tremendous amount of research partnerships that are happening around the world based on open data and open source. And so I would encourage that. But I would also say, and my experience 20 years working in digital government, it really has to come from leadership from above. There has to be a vision and there has to be a supporting framework, because all the tools and all the technology, indeed all the money in the world, will not really drive the type of transformation that tools like big data and AI and research platforms can bring, unless there's a real structured leadership framework in place for doing so.
Thank you so much, Julia. So thank you. Mr. Bardacci, you want to add?
I very much concur with what Julia just said. So my first message would be just stressing that a data-driven approach, it's a cultural change. It needs to be driven by the business dimension. For that, you would probably need a strategy that is giving you the compass for addressing the different dimensions. And these different dimensions include technology, so having platforms and tools in place, but that's not the most difficult part. In the European Commission, we approved a data strategy to harness the power of data, and we focused a lot on skills, on change management and culture, because these are the elements that are most difficult to change. And the one particular message in terms of culture I would like to send is that in the world of big data and data discovery, silos cannot exist. Data should be accessible and skills should be shared, and teams should learn to work together and co-create. And this is the big challenge to really use the technology well.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. Yeah, I also have the last question for Mr. Chen, for Anil, and also for Tiziana. This question is very general, but I think it's very good to conclude this session. This question is from Afghanistan. He's from the Ministry of Rural Rehabilitation and Development. The question is how to accelerate digital transformation for sustainable and resilient recovery from COVID-19 developing countries. So this now is a very general question. So I would like to invite our three panelists to give some key points for the developing countries. Yeah. So Mr. Chen, can you start?
Yeah, sure. I think the story by Mr. Anil was very good. This is the absolute best chance for people to try something new. Governments are more willing to try things right now. You know, during the good time, everybody is just so cautious and not willing to make that difference. But you know, like what we did in the pandemic too, all the solutions were done in weeks, 1, 2, 3 weeks. The bureaucracy went out the window because everybody wanted to get things done quickly. And I think this is a great opportunity for especially developing countries to move forward and try something new. You know, solve a problem with a new technology, solve a problem with something substantial, and just go ahead and do it. You know, I think your leaders will be very happy if you can get something done in a couple of weeks, because in the past they'll be very conservative about it. So great opportunity, just go forward and do it. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chen. Mr. Anil Chowdhury.
Thank you, Mr. Yao. Yes, I would say three things. One is, I think, leverage the political will. Without the political will, it's difficult to make large transformations happen. The second is develop a culture of innovation. We have tried many things over the years. In 2013, we developed what are called innovation teams in every ministry, every directorate, and they had to work on specific goals. We gave them goals of simplifying service delivery process. We gave them goals of reducing what we now call the TCV, time, cost, and the number of visits. And as you had stated earlier, that's what amounted to $8 billion saved. That was the C part. And then we also calculate T and V every year. So they had specific goals. Now it has become policy. So those goal setting really helped. And then also we introduced the concept of a innovation fund. So any innovator from civil service could try out an innovation and then can get about $30,000, up to $30,000, to to actually do that experimentation. And failure is an option. We said that if you fail, it's completely okay. So the Prime Minister says it, Head of Civil Service, Cabinet Secretary says it. So that culture of innovation really helps. And the third area really, I would say, and this we had to learn by doing a lot of mistakes. Singapore, we actually learned quite a lot from. South Korea, we learned quite a lot from, is the interoperability framework. So we started in 2007, and we talked about interoperability from the very beginning, but I think it took a lot of experimentation, developing components to understand what interoperability really meant. And now it's after like 12, 13 years, and we can say with confidence what interoperability means for us and how building blocks come together. So those are the three things: the political will, a culture of innovation with the many different tools and techniques and change management processes that would be very contextual. And the third is really an interoperable framework in technology that really would be helpful. So those are the things that will allow you to do a lot of experimentation and develop the confidence, and then finally scale up your innovation. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Anya, for the key points. Yeah. So may I invite Tiziana to make a few comments here? Thank you.
Thank you very much. And I fully share the views expressed by my co-panelists. I can fully support them. Important points, all of them. And perhaps just to complement the points they have made in my 1 minute, I guess you are giving me, right? My key message is infrastructure connectivity. It's the essential, not by no means sufficient, but it's the essential foundation. And so with the COVID experience, we now need to make a big push into bringing everyone online, universal access to safe, affordable, and reliable broadband internet. The entrepreneurial spirit is there, the innovation spirit is there. It's there in particular from the youthful population of Asia Pacific. That's our hope for the future. But 52% of the region's population continues to remain offline. We need to bring universal access to internet as soon as possible. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Tiziana. Yeah. So due to time constraints, I have to conclude this session. But our discussion should not stop here. We should continue to further discussion through the different forms. Yeah. So let's embrace the open collaboration. Yeah. So with that, I conclude this session and now give the floor back to Mr. Booking Shim, the head of UNPOG. Mr. Shim.
Thank you, Keping, for the wonderful moderation and all the distinguished speakers for sharing the work that the respective organizations are doing and reaching out through global cooperation. We have had the top leaders in the world as speakers in this webinar. We can learn more from the speakers, especially by visiting their respective websites, I expect. Now we will move to the closing session. It is my great pleasure to invite my longtime colleague, Mr. Suan Zhang, to deliver closing remarks. Mr. Zhang is the Director General of the Digital Government Bureau of Ministry of the Interior and Safety of the Republic of Korea. Mr. Zhang, you have the floor.
Thank you. I would like to thank all participants for insightful presentation and discussions. Today, every corner of the world is suffering due to COVID-19. 30 million people have been infected, and the death toll already reached 1 million. As part of our response to the pandemic, governments and organizations around the world are focusing on non-contact services using digital technologies. All of the strategies and experiences of digital transformation that you shared today will be valuable assets that we can use to prepare for the post-COVID-19 era. Digital transformation is offer opportunities to better our lives and to create new industries. It will also help countries to be in a better position to prepare for and response to national emergencies that may arise after the COVID-19 pandemic. Digital government leaders are holding a key for successful digital transformation. I hope all digital government leaders here today continue to cooperate to accelerate digital transformation of each country and share those experiences with the international community so that all countries around the world can build sustainable and resilient digital governments. The Korean government will always be a committed partner that shares its lessons learned and experiences with the international community. Once again, I would like to extend my warmest gratitude to all of you for joining today. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Zhang, for the wonderful closing remarks and for showing the Korean government's commitment to partner with the international community to share experiences and the lessons learned. Thank you. I now deliver final closing remarks. I hope you have all enjoyed the insightful and valuable discussions, and I'd like to thank you all for your dedication and participation in this webinar. In particular, I thank all the excellent speakers. During our struggle with the scourge of COVID-19, ICTs, especially frontier technologies and digital government, have been playing critical roles in contact tracing, delivering essential public services to all, effective risk communications for ensuring public trust, and engaging the whole society. This crisis has become the big driver for digital transformation, and it is changing our mindset. Government officials are rethinking how they deliver value to people in a digital world amidst this crisis, and how to create new or modify existing delivery modalities to meet evolving requirements of citizens. Digital transformation is also fundamentally reshaping the economy while contributing to building long-term resilience. Though we cannot yet see the light at the end of the COVID-19 tunnel, the accelerated pace of digital transformation could help facilitate the sustainable and resilient recovery from the pandemic. So the discussions of this webinar today are very timely and relevant. In view of insightful interventions by our speakers and the interactive discussions with our participants, I would like to highlight a few key points. First, all countries developing and developed should revamp and set up national strategies for digital transformation for pursuing our sustainable and resilient recovery in the post-COVID-19 era. Slow action or inaction in designing new digital roadmap will adversely affect national competitiveness, hamper the development of digital economy, and reduce long-term resilience. Second, digital transformation needs extensive approach, starting from analyzing where we stand with telecommuting, telemedicine, online learning system, and so on, in directing us to upgrade and develop better ideas. The central leader should mobilize all the resources and collaborate with the stakeholders, such as the ICT business sector, academia, and the civil society organizations to create better digital world. Third, in the process of digital transformation, we should effectively address the digital divide within the country and ensure inclusion of vulnerable groups. First, countries advanced in ICT's innovations and digital economy, big tech giants, as well as regional and international agencies, including the EU and the UN, should extend support and solidify partnership with those countries in special situations, especially LDCs and SEEDs. DPIDG of UN DESA, in collaboration with our partners, will continue to support the development of digital government capacities and promoting the accelerated pace of digital transformation in developing member states. We prepared an online discussion board on UNPOG website to continue today's interactions. This could be the concrete action from this webinar, which helps us create a global digital government knowledge platform to exchange ideas and experiences and drive innovations. We'll also invite you to participate in the post-webinar evaluation survey for your invaluable feedback and to better identify your capacity demands. The outcome report, the recording of this webinar, and all other pertinent information will become available on UNPOG webpage and will inform you accordingly. Before I conclude, allow me to thank the participative audiences, distinguished speakers, and our three moderators. I would also like to thank the Ministry of the Interior and Safety and the National Information Society Agency of the Republic of Korea for their collaboration in organizing this webinar. DPIDG, UN DESA will remain fully committed to engaging with you. Thank you for your attention. Please stay safe, stay healthy, and stay connected. Thank you. Thank you. Now, this concludes all the webinar. Thank you for all the participants. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye to everyone.
Bye-bye.